I got to tell you, Saturday, I was watching everything, and I watched the Open on Saturday. I was supposed to play golf. It got rained out. So I was watching the Open a lot of the day. And Jack came in and said to me, Dad, Caitlin Clark's coming back today. I didn't know she was coming back. I hadn't noticed that. I knew she had been injured. I got to tell you, like a lot of people looking at the ratings, which were just unbelievable, I watched some of that in the first half. And then I found myself turning back to it because it was so much fun to watch. She is such a delight to watch. Now, I'm going to compare it to somebody. I haven't heard this. Maybe somebody has made this, and I don't know. I know people have tried to compare it to Curry. I don't see Curry. You know who I see? Pistol Pete Maravich. That's what she reminds me of. She stands out there with such a difference. Her look is so different with the tongue and the socks and the attitude and the movement. Plus, her passing is so advanced and so exquisite and instinctively good. And so was Pistol's. And her ball handling and her range on the jump shot, which is just unlimited. And that's where Pistol Pete had the floppy hair and the socks at a time, the big floppy gray socks, which nobody wore. And I saw Pistol. I was around and was a big college basketball fan when the 3Ms were competing in college. There were 3 guards in the country who were lighting up the scoreboard. Now, remember, this was the age of UCLA. This was right in the middle of post-Kareem, pre-Bill, Addison, Wixon, row time. Murphy, Mount, and Maravich. Rick Mount was a sharp-shooting guard for Purdue. Calvin Murphy was this electric, 5'9", just lightning quick player who had the quickest hands you ever saw and the most perfect jump shot at 5'9" that you ever saw, and played for Niagara and put Niagara on the map. And there was a lot of question whether he could play in the NBA, and he went on to have a great NBA career. And then you had Maravich. And Pistol Pete, remember. Now, he rubbed people the wrong way. Pistol Pete played UCLA with Wooden, and Wooden was incensed by Pistol Pete's play. He didn't like showboating. He didn't like excessive displays. He didn't like selfish players. He wanted the ball moved. He wanted it to be a team in every way. So he made sure they buried Pistol Pete, and they did. Just embarrassed them. They must have had 35 turnovers that night. But that was UCLA. What Pete did was unbelievable. He averaged 44 points in college without the 3-point goal. If we had had the 3-point goal, he would have averaged in the 60s. No question. He was shooting shots that would have been 12 feet behind the line. It was nothing for these guys to get 40 or 50 or even mid-60s. Remember, I saw Maravich get 60 against Walt Frazier in the pros. Murphy, I saw score 68 in college. I mean, these guys were unbelievable. And she reminds me, when I watched her the other day, and the joy with which she plays and the verve with which she plays and how the incredible display on the three-point shots and the quickness of the release and the ball handling and the passing. I said, this reminds me of Pistol Pete Maravich. It's a show. And it was I almost came out of my chair watching it. I was like, this is unbelievable. I loved it. I loved it. I would pay. I've never watched a WNBA game in my life. I would pay to see her play. I would travel to see her play. That's how exciting she is. She's thrilling. Nothing short of it. She's got a charisma on the court that is Maravich-like. I mean, she was so good on Saturday. In that first half with those bombs, it was delightful to watch. It really was. And I can see why people are so absolute. And I understand. Listen, remember, there was insane jealousy for Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete got drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, who were a wonderful team of a really tremendous all-black starting five, really top players. And they disbanded over Maravich. That's how upset they were. They were furious about Maravich. The jealousy towards Maravich, and they weren't all wrong. He didn't play defense. I mean, at that time, now he refined his game later on, and we all know the Maravich saga and his early death and everything else. But I'm not trying to get into that part of it. But I understand she's facing a jealousy, but these players in this league have to understand she is raising all boats. Yes, she's going to make an extraordinary amount of money. She's magic. She's charisma. She's box office. And you know what? If you can do it as a player, God bless you. If you can draw eyeballs to the set, God bless you. But you know what? If you can't, just applaud that she can do it and reap the benefits. She's capable of doing that. She elevates her team's play, no question, and she brings an incredible white hot spotlight to the league. She right now, and this is crazy. She right now is the best show in basketball. And that's a crazy statement. Especially from someone who's never watched a WNBA game before. I admit it, I've never watched it. I wouldn't go see a WNBA game if you paid me. I'd pay to see her play. That's how much fun she is. And how good those passes are. And how great her shot making is. She's unbelievable. I watched her a couple times again for Iowa, and listen, she was exciting, but she never captivated me the way she did this last game. Because she didn't play great when I saw her. She played okay. She forced some issues. She forced some shots. She ran into some crazy double teams. Now, she did a little of that the other day, but for the most part, her game was so positive and lifted the team so dramatically. It was incredible to watch. She is going to put that league on she already has, but she is going to lift that league incredibly. And Nike at 8 for 28. I know she's got a shoe coming out. I don't know if it's out yet or she has a shoe coming out. Her shoe, I think, will be enormous. As long as they make the shoe that has the right look that appeals to young ladies, every young girl who's a basketball player is going to wear her shoe. When do they have someone like her to follow? And I think I know she's getting commercials. I've seen her on commercials. I've seen her on State Farm. I've seen her as a matter of fact, I was at the St. John's game this year, and she was there. I guess we went to the game against Xavier at the Garden, and I think that was it, or was it at Coneseca? I can't remember. I went to a couple games. No, I was at a game at Coneseca. She was there. She was at the game that night because they put her on the screen. She was at the game. So I gather she has a guy she goes out with who's an assistant coach. So she was in the building that night. She is a rock star. Let's be honest. And I don't know why the league. I mean, I know the people who run the league are looking to maximize everything she does. Why not look? The ratings are insane for her. And I got to admit, she plays a big game in the postseason this year. I'm going to watch it. If I'm home, I'm going to watch her play. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to watch her play. If she's playing she played a game in New York in the playoffs, I'd go see it. I'd like to see her play in person. Her passing is just, it's extraordinary. It really is. It's unbelievable. It really is. She threw some unreal passes on Saturday. And she made some bombs. I mean, she was like 9 for 12 in the first half, and she was shooting bombs. It was unbelievable. And look at the numbers. Right now, she's magic. She's a rock star. And there's no rhyme or reason to who becomes a rock star in America. She's got it, and she has it in multiples. She doesn't just have it. She has it and has it and has it. She is, the best way to put it is, if you like basketball, she's just fun to watch. You want to be entertained. That's entertainment. I loved what I saw on Saturday. I went back from the golf and from the baseball game, to watch her play. Now, the second half was much more quiet. She had 25 at the half. She scored 32. She probably got tired. They probably would double teaming her. I didn't watch every second of the second half, so I'm sure they would double teaming her, and she got tired. I'm sure, because this is her first game back. But what she did in the first half of that game was utterly magical. It's the only word for it, is magical. And I have to admit, it took me back to watching Pistol Pete. It really did.